So what is chivalry? Chivalry is defined to be courteous behavior, especially towards women. What usually comes to people's minds when you talk about chivalry is men holding the door open for women. And I do see this a lot. If a family is walking into a restaurant, for example, it's the man who gets to the door first so he can open it for the wife and kids. I've yet to see a woman do this for her husband and her kids. Now, to be fair, there are some people out there who will just hold the door open for anybody. It could be male or female holding the door open for somebody of either gender, and they do so without thinking about it. There have been times where a female held the door open for me. And it just baffles me when some people out there find it sexist against women that men hold doors open for them. They say it's because it's implying that women can't open doors for themselves and need a man to do it. But do you honestly think that the man was really thinking that the woman wasn't capable of that herself? Or was he just being nice? It boggles my mind the way some people out there think. A man does something nice for a woman, and they have the audacity to call it benevolent sexism. One of the biggest oxymorons I've ever heard. It's also one of the biggest slaps in the face. To say that something which is blatantly sexist against men is somehow sexist to women is such an insult. If a female held the door open for me, I would say, thank you. I wouldn't think, oh, what, you don't think men can do this for themselves? Other little things I've noticed is when a man and a woman are shopping together, it's the man who is pushing the cart while the woman's hands are completely free. It's also the man's wallet that comes out to pay for the groceries. If a man and a woman are at a restaurant, the woman's chair gets pulled out, and if they're waiting to get their food, it's the man who goes and gets it and brings it back to the table. You'll see men who open and close the car door for both the female and himself.
Is chivalry that dead? Is it that
it's
awful to do
dead.
something nice? Is it that awful to do something nice for somebody who you care about?
Hey, I have no problem being nice. But for the people who say, is it so wrong, is it so bad to do something nice, they are completely missing the point. The point is that it's based entirely on gender. You're giving females extra special treatment just because they are female. It would also be nice if women did these things for men too. Imagine if chivalry was about women opening and holding doors, wheeling carts, and pulling chairs for men just because they were men. Then it would be considered a sexist tradition and it would be a thing of the past. But because it favors women, it's not considered sexist and many people to this day encourage it. There was one time on the Ellen show where she said, "It's polite to stand up whenever a lady enters a room," and the audience cheered and applauded. Imagine if a man came on TV and said it should be considered polite to stand up whenever a man enters a room. Now all of a sudden it sounds sexist. The same action, but with a different gender. So these were just some of the things that I've observed. Now I want to talk about some of the things I've experienced in regards to chivalry. Here's something I've noticed, and I'd like for you to try this out for yourself too, and let me know what your results are. Let's say you're walking somewhere, be it a sidewalk, a college campus, or just anywhere really. If a woman is walking directly towards you, don't move out of the way. Just keep walking. I want you to see if the woman will move out of the way or is expecting you to. From my experience, they just keep walking and force me to move out of the way. Why is this a problem? Because there's this implication that men are just in the woman's way and men have to clear a path for the woman. We have to make a woman's life that much more convenient. I remember one meeting that I had at my job, and there were quite a lot of people there, but not enough chairs for everyone. I was one of the first ones there, so I got a chair. Now, two girls walked in late, and there were no chairs left, so they just stood. Within a couple of minutes, a woman who was sitting down got up and got chairs for the girls. Now, that's all well and good, but she just had to open her mouth in the middle of the meeting while doing it. As she was getting the chairs, she said out loud, "Let me get you girls some chairs since none of the gentlemen are offering theirs." Okay, so just because I'm male, I have to give up my seat for a female. Why? Whatever happened to first come, first serve? I was on time, so I got the seat. They were late, so tough luck. She's trying to make the men, who were on time by the way, look like the bad guys. None of the other females offered their seats to the girls either. But she didn't say anything about that. I mean, if I was late, would anybody be expected to give up their seat for me? Of course not, because I was late, right? Just like these girls were late. I doubt she would have said anything if a male was late. You know what's funny is that sometimes that woman and I would be the last ones to leave work, and she'd ask me to walk her to her car. So this woman expects men to be there for her, protect her, keep her safe, risk their own safety. And not only wouldn't do the same in return, but also has to bust the guy's balls because he didn't give up his seat to a girl who was late. Speaking of work, there was another meeting. I was the first one to show up before it started, and then after a while about 6 more people showed up, and they all just so happened to be female. So before the meeting started, these 6 females were having their little small talk, and I was on the computer working on something. Now the boss came by and needed help getting something from his car. Who does he ask to help him? Any one of the 6 females? Nope, I get asked to do it. Why not one of the girls? Nah, we wouldn't want to inconvenience any females when there's a male around. When I was taking abstract algebra, I was studying with one of my female classmates. There was one time I sent her a text message about how she did on a test, but it got taken the wrong way. You know how it can be difficult to get somebody's tone in the text message. So apparently what I said offended her. And I got a text back saying, "Don't ever talk to my girlfriend like that again." So she couldn't just text me herself. She has to run to her boyfriend and he has to fight her battles. What if somebody messed with him? There would be no expectation for her to help. So if somebody messes with the girlfriend, the boyfriend fights the battle. If somebody messes with the boyfriend fights the battle. Doesn't seem very fair now, does it? As long as chivalry exists, true gender equality cannot. Chivalry is not just about being extra courteous to women. It's also a mindset. It's the mentality that women should be treated favorably just because they are women. What's equal about that? This is where chivalry becomes a really big problem. Women are presumed innocent, whereas men are guilty until proven innocent. Women get lighter prison sentences for committing the same crime or even a worse crime than a man. Women aren't held to the same standards as men on the fitness test to become police officers. And a woman's life is considered to be more valuable, be it in real life or in the media. You ever see the movie The Professional? What did the hitman always say?
No women, no kids. No women, no kids. That's the rules.
No women, no kids, right?
Right.
We said no women, no kids.
Yeah, and women must be kept safe, whereas men are expected to risk their own lives and sacrifice themselves, and if they don't, they're useless and terrible people.
I saw Mr. Ross across the street. He looked so concerned. I thought he was going to help me, but I couldn't believe it. He just turned around and went inside.
Look at this asshole just watching.
If they had been women instead of men, would there have been any expectation for them to step in?
I don't think so.
Who gets the safety first? Women and children. If a ship is sinking, it's women and children who get onto the lifeboats first. Now I can understand children first, but how come it isn't children first, then adults? Why is a man's well-being at the bottom of the priority list? Take a look at this clip from Seinfeld. I always hated this part of the episode.
It was an inferno in there! An inferno! There he is! That's him! The coward that left us!
So George is treated like scum for wanting to run to safety. If a woman did the same thing, I highly doubt she'd get as much heat for it, if any.
But I saw you push the women and children out of the way in a mad panic. I saw you knock them down.
Okay, so she has an issue with the fact that he pushed the women and children out of the way. Now, if she took issue with the fact that he pushed everyone out of the way and was only thinking about himself, then this wouldn't be so offensive. But that's not what she said. She said women and children. So any man he pushed out of the way is perfectly fine with her. Men can just fight each other all they want for all she cares, as long as women get to safety first. I mean, he pushed the clown out of the way too, but that doesn't matter. Only the women and children count. Again, I can understand children first, but if women are also adults, and they truly are equals, then they should be treated as such.
How do you live with yourself?
So you feel women and children first in this day and age is somewhat of an antiquated notion?
She should be commending me for treating everyone like equals.
Well, perhaps when she's released from the burn center, she'll see things differently.
Okay, but if George was in that position because of this sexist women first rule, that would be okay.
If there's a house fire, it's always women and children first. I gotta stand there with like the back of my shirt on fire going, let's go people, let's go, let's go!
Chivalry works. Try it sometime. Try it sometime, okay.
Yeah, for you it does, but in the name of fairness and equality, it doesn't.